You're live. Okay, here we are. It is Friday night. This is a first for us, Brian.
Yes, it is.
Dude, this is prime time. It's Friday night. It's like TGIF over here.
I hope we can live up to that.
Yeah. Are we like Family Matters or like what do you call it? What's the show that Elizabeth Olsen's sisters were actually on? Full House, right? That was on Fridays, right?
Yeah, that was part of that whole thing. Yep.
Yeah. Cool. Well, did you see like on Twitter, like the thing was that people didn't realize that Elizabeth Olsen was the Olsen twins' sister?
Yeah, I mean, like you don't really hear about them anymore, but I mean, 10 years ago you were still hearing about them constantly. You know, I mean, so it's interesting. And there was another thing recently where that happened too, where I was like, people didn't realize that, but what was it?
Well, it was with Moira from Schitt's Creek, right?
Oh yes, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. They're like, oh, she's in Beetlejuice. Oh my God, you know. Yeah. And Home Alone. That's what it was.
I mean, that was the reason why I watched that show, because of that. I mean,
right. Yeah. So it's funny though, because like I feel like she looks just like her sisters, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's weird because like she's like a good, like almost not quite a foot taller, but she's significantly taller than both of them.
Yeah. So what do you call it? We are going to discuss WandaVision, episode 9 tonight, right?
Or isn't it 8?
Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. We're discussing WandaVision episode 8, which just premiered today, and hopefully you guys have all seen it because we are going to spoil the hell out of this right now. It looks like this episode was based on a 2010 sitcom called Trauma Witch. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, of course. It's my favorite show.
Yes.
I really thought you were going to pull out something serious. I'm like, oh shit, I did not know what.
Yeah. No, it's Letter Kinney or Slater Kinney, whatever. You know, I don't know. You were just talking about that the other day.
Very different things.
Yeah. So this episode was like totally devoid of any of the sitcom stuff, and it was a lot of just like, we're going to answer your questions, we're going to show you the backstory, and I appreciate it.
You a little bit too.
Oh yeah. Dude, they showed that scene that I've always talked to you about with the missile like crashing into their house.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, wouldn't it be incredible if they did that Magneto thing that I've talked about before? But they didn't do it.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, just straight off, spoiler central already. Do you think that they're going to make it that Wanda is not a mutant, like ever? Like they're never going to go into that direction? Or what do you think?
So, I mean, this is the main thing I'm thinking about here. They implied that she had some latent witch abilities,
mm-hmm.
and that the Mind Stone amplified that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at that completely in a silo, you can argue that no mutants are not going to be involved here. But if you think about Quicksilver, what does the Mind Stone have to do with speed?
Yeah.
So it kind of makes me think it's like you basically could say that they are mutants, and the Mind Stone enhanced or brought out their abilities.
Yeah.
So I think it's not completely out of the question that mutants exist, and they existed before this.
Yeah. It's funny because it kind of reminds me of this one Marvel comic. What is it called? 1602, right? Neil Gaiman wrote. So 1602, they have mutants in it. Basically, the idea of 1602 is that it's like all the Marvel characters, but they are in that time period of like colonial America, and there are mutants like Magneto and the X-Men are in it, but they're called witch breed.
Yes,
so I felt like there was like a little bit of a connection there. They were kind of hinting that like Wanda, like you said, just inherently has these witch abilities, and we know that it's definitely something that you have to like practice and learn, because Agatha in the very beginning of the episode does like a couple of spells, right? She mentions necromancy and she mentions transmutation, right? And mind control.
And mind control, yeah.
Yeah, but I was going to ask you this, right? Were you confused when they talked about how she did the Quicksilver situation? Like, did that confuse you?
I actually watched the show twice today. So
good.
First time, yes. The second time I heard it a little clearer. So she basically said it was my eyes and ears, but he was a crystalline illusion or something like that.
Yeah. She said something crystalline something. Yeah. Let me see. I have it written down somewhere.
So I mean, I don't I think it's some kind of much like Wanda created her children. I don't want to say she created Pietro because I think she may have just taken somebody and controlled them or something like that. Very interesting that we didn't see him this episode because we did see him in that teaser. Was it last week or the week before?
Yeah, in the mid credits last week.
Yeah, I can't remember. I'm getting my weeks mixed up. So I mean, he's still there, so he still has some agency in some way.
Yeah.
So that's definitely an interesting thing to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I mean, so she said the word she used was crystalline possession. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? And so I think what you're saying basically is that, like, she took some random guy that was already in the town and, like, used her powers to make him act like Quicksilver with speed. And then she just, like, talked through him, like she controlled him.
Yes.
So, and it's just like a coincidence that it's the actor that played Quicksilver in the X-Men movies.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think obviously it was done deliberately to kind of throw our little fan minds into a tizzy. So and
it sure did. Worked. Yeah. Speaking of throwing our minds in a tizzy, like everyone just speculates the hell out of this show, man. Like you know, and at this point, I don't think we're gonna see Mephisto, but I am like shocked at how much Marvel comic stuff was referenced in this episode.
Yeah, and also it's just I'm still. I mean, I've been reading comics, really only since the 2000s because I read them sporadically and when I was younger in the 80s and 90s, but I wasn't like buying week to week comics until the 2000s.
Right.
So I mean, there is so much, and even if you go backtrack, there is so much out there that. And so much of that is in this show that like I was really not even super aware of before it.
Yeah. Well, So I mean, just addressing what you just said, like I shared some videos with you. It's kind of silly. I'm promoting another channel, but Comics Explained, and the guy that runs the show, his name's Rob, and he's awesome because he just knows like everything about every comic, right? And he fills in the gaps that I have too. And I got comics a lot when I was a kid too, at weekly. And then I stopped around high school age because I thought that girls wouldn't like me for reading comics, right? And then you helped me get back into comics when I was in my early 20s. And still, like, even though I've spent like thousands of dollars on friggin' comics and taken out from the library, I still don't know half this shit, you know? Yeah. Let's see. Speaking of friends and stuff, here's our friend Danny. He said, this is the best water cooler show in the streaming era. I definitely think that's the case, man. Right? Like, it's definitely the kind of show where, like, it's not people talking about a water cooler anymore. It's all of us stuck in our houses, like you and me.
I was going to say, it's like, although we haven't been to a water cooler in quite some time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we're just like sitting here talking. Everyone's got their own YouTube shows. Like I saw there's a bunch of shows today where they're like, at 7:00, we're going to talk about Wandavision, you know? But anyway, I was talking about Rob from Comics Explained, and he talked about this exact thing that you and I have discussed, which is where do the kids come from? And we were kind of confused about it being a part of Mephisto. And so what happened was Wanda created her children, right? And they wanted to like retcon that. They wanted to get rid of that because they thought it was too weird that she's having kids with a robot. So they made it that Mephisto, those kids were like a piece of Mephisto, and that he like absorbed them back into him. That's what happened in like I think the 80s. It was still the 80s when that happened.
Yes.
And then basically Bendis took that, Bendis comic book writer, he took that and used it for Avengers Disassembled, where he made Wanda remember that this happened and she had a nervous breakdown and just destroyed the Avengers. We've talked about that a bunch of times too. But one of the things that was cool about the Rob videos is that he did a whole video on Agatha Harkness, and I didn't know a lot about her. And it turns out she's actually... Oh, go ahead.
In December 2019, I might add.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing how he could like kind of predict stuff, and people know about this stuff back then too. Yeah. So, but she originally started with the Fantastic Four. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was reading that in various things, in the last few weeks. But I mean, it didn't seem to come up. And although everyone kind of thought that we might have had that aerospace engineer might have been Reed Richards, but obviously it didn't pan out. And I don't think we're going to get any connection like that. I mean, Agatha seems Agatha in the comics seems more like a neutral to good character, and here she seems a little more neutral to evil character.
Hell yeah.
So it's clearly a deviation anyway. So I mean, you're not gonna see her being a nanny anywhere, basically.
Yeah, definitely not. Especially when she's got like the kids by the throats at the end of the episode. Looking like she's like garroting them with magic. I was gonna say though, like let's just go through it like beat by beat. Then, like talking about Agatha in the very beginning, there's like a little prologue where she's brought to a stake, and you think that maybe she might be burned at the stake, and she's been cornered by a bunch of witches. And they kind of like all blast her, and she essentially like absorbs their energy, right? And like drains them.
Yeah.
And so I guess, I mean, that's implying that she is like super powerful and that like you can take the essence from other witches. I don't know.
Yeah. So I mean, it's clear that she's using some kind of dark magic or something like that. But basically, because all her spells are purple and all their spells were blue.
Oh, okay. Oh,
and then,
dude, yeah.
And then the other thing to note too is that her mother, who was the last one that gets drained, eventually has that like kind of like a blue crown, an energy crown that is very reminiscent of, the headdress of the classic Scarlet Witch costume.
Oh shit, dude. Okay, see, I'm so glad I'm talking to you because like I just totally didn't even pay attention to that. I remember her kind of saying mother, but I thought that maybe that could have been like, she's the mother of the witch coven or something, but it's like literally her mother.
Yeah, it's literally her mother. Yeah.
Okay. And so I didn't even notice. I noticed like she had like a crown thing, but I didn't realize it was the Scarlet Witch. And then like that's interesting about the light, right? Because it's almost like Transformers, where like the Transformers they have blue eyes.
Yeah,
and water
the blue eyes, and the guns have red eyes, and then there's like random yellow one here and there.
Yeah, like, who's that? But what do you call it? That's real interesting because so going back to Rob, dude, I'm like plugging this guy's show like crazy tonight. But he talked about how in Marvel there's essentially like 3 types of magic in the regular Marvel comics, right? He said there's like ambient magic, which is like the magic of our world that I guess comes from like the elements or Earth, right? Then there is like I forget what he called it, but it's like essentially what Doctor Strange does, which is he borrows magic from other dimensions and stuff, and he does it in the movie too. That's a big part of the Doctor Strange movie. And then the third kind is chaos magic, which they reference in this show.
Yes.
So
in the MCU now we have 4 different colors of magic because we have Doctor Strange is orange and Wanda's red, and then purple and blue.
Yeah. Okay, so Wanda's the chaos. The orange is Doctor Strange, like his dimension stuff.
Yep.
And then blue. Yeah. Okay, so maybe
I was gonna wait till mention this later, but this is like a real long shot here.
Do it.
I was wondering. I mean, I kept thinking about the blue. It looked very watery in a sense, and I know that Atlantis has a very rich history with magic, and I'm wondering if there's some connection to Atlantis or Atlantean culture, and I keep thinking about what this surprise cameo or whatever it is, and I'm like, is it Namor? But that's like total crazy long shot, and I don't think that's true at all.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah. That is kind of out of left field, I gotta admit, but I like it. I'm still holding on to your thing that you said where there's that one actor that Paul Bettany referenced. So
I have 2 stronger theories of that we'll get to later that I'll share.
Sweet. And then if Mephisto is involved, like everyone keeps speculating every freaking time there's a video of this, it'd be cool if like his magic like is the purple magic, even though he's a red guy.
I will say that I don't think Mephisto is involved anymore.
Yeah,
I don't think he's on the team.
Okay, good. I actually kind of feel the same way. Like, we're just kind of grasping at straws. All right, so essentially they go through Wanda's life and they see her time at Hydra, and I actually forgot that the stone that gave her the power was like orange in color, right? It's the
Mind Stone.
The Mind Stone, right?
Yeah.
Which is,
and it was always weird because it was the stone in Loki's staff, but it was blue, and it was just like that was very confusing when you're watching the Avengers movies because the Tesseract was blue,
right?
And then, so this thing was blue, and they weren't super clearly defined as Infinity Stones at that point,
right?
So it was all very confusing.
Yeah, I'm glad. And so it's yellow. I said the wrong thing. The other one is the Soul Gem is orange, but it was yellow, right?
Yeah.
And so they had it in the staff, and essentially, I think Ultron is the one that breaks it out, right? Or does Ultron break it out?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't remember.
I think Ultron gets the staff in Age of Ultron, and he breaks it, and he puts the. No, I don't know. So, somehow Vision gets it on his head, right?
Yeah, that's how he comes to life. Yeah,
right. Okay,
because it's the body. Because Ultron is building the Vision's body for himself to go into.
Yeah,
he wants a better body than what he has. Yeah,
yeah. So basically, there's kind of like a life history for Wanda, and we see that like the reason why she's so obsessed with television shows is because her dad had like DVDs that he would go sell out of a suitcase. And it was like a pastime with her family to just sit and watch TV shows. Did you kind of see that? Like, could you kind of predict that?
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely seemed like something from her past, and it's. I mean, this show is really about exploring her grief and trauma and how it's all manifesting throughout this ordeal.
Yeah.
And one of the things I wanted to mention too is that we didn't really touch upon on our initial recording on this show. When we first did that first 1 to 3 episodes, I mean, the commercials have all really touched upon her grief. First one was it had a toaster and it had that blinking light, and I think that was supposed to symbolize the bomb dropping in that apartment.
Okay, good.
So and there are other things too that I can't remember off the top of my head, but I mean, there was the Lagos paper towels, and that's where that the beginning of Civil War happened, that incident.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So yeah, that's just another aspect of her grief. And that's really what is one of the touchstones of this show.
Yeah. The last commercial I can remember, like they were talking about Nexus. It was like some kind of medication or something. And so it was like
dealing with depression.
Yeah. Exactly. So they show a little bit of like the Avengers compound, and they show Vision and her kind of bonding. Did you like that scene?
Yeah, I did. It was not like this was really filling in some gaps in the backstory of these characters. I mean, because there's so many characters and so many things going on in these movies, you can't really get to everything. So it's nice to see these little scenes that help build upon what they've established, more so in exposition previously. So it is nice to see these little moments, because at the same time too, I mean, if you're just a totally casual fan and just watching the movies, and maybe even you haven't seen all the movies, these characters were in Age of Ultron, Civil War, and then they're like star-crossed lovers in
Infinity War.
And then you know what happens at the end of that.
Yeah. So good point. I liked it, because it added this extra emotion to it, and I like his little awkwardness when he kind of like looks at her and smiles, and then like looks at her and smiles. Kind of reminded me of myself. So then, just trying to think like what else was there any other flashback? I don't think so. I think but when you watched it the second time, that's like the end of the flash. Oh no, wait, dude, the most important flashback. What the hell am I talking about? Yeah, where she goes to the friggin' sword base.
Well, I'm sorry. Well, one thing too that I wanted to touch on, the scene where she actually interacts with the Mind Stone.
Okay. Yeah.
You get that quick flash of the silhouette of the classic costume.
Yeah.
And, at first you're wondering like, is that like what is it? But the second time I looked at it, like you can, it's her face. Like you see her face in it. Absolutely.
Okay.
So it's either some future vision of herself, or maybe it's some stupid time paradox or some crap. Who knows? But I really liked seeing that, and I think by the end of this, we're gonna see a more defined, classic-y costume.
Yeah. So you think she'll be looking like that by the end of the show?
Yeah. She's gonna have an updated costume, and she's gonna have the headdress, and it's gonna be a little more comic accurate, not like cheesy like the Halloween costume. A little more in line with the other modern updated costumes.
I think you're right, man. I think you're right. Yeah, it might look kind of like the way she looked in Uncanny Avengers, like her costume.
Yeah. That would totally work. Yeah.
Yeah, the way I see it with that, it could be like two things. I think it either is like a premonition of herself, like you were saying. I don't think it's going to involve time travel at all. I think that like it might be that's like a Scarlet Witch from another reality, and that like her powers are going to influence multiple realities, right? Because we know that she's involved in Doctor Strange and the multiverse of madness, right? And so like maybe her powers will extend. I'm not sure though. Like after this whole thing that we were talking about with Pietro and him just being like a regular guy that we're speculating, I don't think I don't know if the multiverse is going to be involved at all in this show.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So all right, so yeah, that scene was awesome. And then let's talk about the scene where she goes to the sword base, right?
Yes.
So
very different than what our previous expectations were.
Yes. Yeah. Because the impression was that she went there and she like ripped the place up, and then she like takes the vision, right? I mean, she does kind of bust in, and she does get into the lab where he's being taken apart. But then she leaves, right?
Yeah, she just drives off in a unassuming Buick or whatever it was.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: in the folder that's in her car, right? Like somebody planted that there, right?
No, I absolutely believe that was given to her prior to it, or sent to her prior to events of Infinity War. I mean, you can clearly see it's a deed. You know, it's a deed to that house, and it says for Wanda Maximoff and Vision. Like it has their names on it. Like he bought her a house so they can grow old together, or whatever. Yeah. I think that's what it said on there.
Yeah, so, it says a place to grow old. It said, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I literally think it was given to her by Vision. It's just more in the past, you know, and it's her just again dealing with grief and just going through the stages of it, and you know, going there maybe to confront it.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you this, because she goes to the town and she sees the people in the town, and some of the people that are there currently in the show. But like we know from the names of the people in the show that some of them are like magic users, or like known to be magic users in the comics, right? So do you think that it's just like a little Easter egg and it's supposed to be fun, or do you think that like these are people that might end up using magic because of this, or do you think that people are like magic users being attracted to it, like Agatha, and they're just sort of assimilated when they get there?
Yeah, so I think one of the things you mentioned there I had not considered previously. So I think when we first talked about the show in that 1 to 3 episode thing we did, we did think that Wanda's actions attracted a host of magic users. Right. I think in this case, Agatha was the only one that came snooping around, and they are just in fact little Easter eggs that, you know, for the larger extended Marvel universe.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Easter eggs, I forgot Agatha's bunny, right? Her bunny's name,
Scratchy.
Scratchy, right?
Senior Scratchy, yeah.
Senior Scratchy, but the thing is,
I know what you're gonna say.
I can't remember. It's the name of Agatha's son, right?
Yes, Nicholas Scratch. Yes,
Nicholas Scratch. There you go, dude. Thank God you're here. Like you remember all the details. I'm like, what is it? The bunny is a guy, but like so. Yeah, that I don't think it's like literally her bunny. It's just like a little Easter egg. I mean, her son.
You know what? I mean, there was that whole little weird thing where the bunny ate the fly or the locust, whatever the heck that was.
Yeah, it turned into a bird.
I think that may actually be Nicholas Scratch, and it's not gonna have any impact on the story, and it really is there for an Easter egg. But yeah, I mean, they in the comics they do have a confrontation, and she does have to do something to him. But I don't remember exactly what. But I mean, like, yeah, he basically leads like a town of witches that she helped found against her.
Yeah.
And she has to defeat him along with I guess Wanda was there at the time, and that's so
they were called the Salem 7. It's all from this video from this guy Rob from Comics Explained. So y'all can go there right now and check him out. He's got 1 million subscribers. You know, maybe we could use a little help over here, but you know, go check out his videos too. So like when she goes there and changes the town, the house, it was like it's not even there anymore, right? Because it's post the snap, right?
Well, it was meant to be like a foundation.
Okay.
I don't necessarily think it wasn't there. I think they bought a lot, and you know, had an intention to build on it.
Yeah, and then like she literally makes Vision, so that's a contradictory from what I thought happened too. I thought that like she took his body and like kind of revived him, but she essentially just made a new Vision.
Yeah, and we really should have picked up on the fact too. I mean, I think we did sort of comment on it, but I mean, the Mind Stone, it has been in his head this entire time here. I mean, like,
yeah,
you know. So I I can't say that she's recreated the Mind Stone or whatever this is, but this also explains why when this version of Vision was trying to leave the boundary, why he was getting torn back into it, and it looked different than how Vision died in Infinity War.
Yeah. He was like disintegrating. All right, good point. So, well, speaking of which, we could kind of jump to that spoiler at the mid credits if you want.
Sure. Is there anything else I have to say? Yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah, because I have like other Marvel comic stuff to talk about, but I kind of want to get to this mid credit scene. So, like, some people already on YouTube have it as like their thumbnails for their videos. It's like, come on, man.
Oh, man, seriously?
Yeah. I always hate making thumbnails for this because, like, I don't want to make something that's going to spoil something for people, but I also want to make something that's relevant to the episode. And I totally dropped the ball on this one, man. I put Monica Rambeau in the thumbnail at first, and she's like not in the episode at all. You know, so that probably confused a lot of people. But So you want to tell everybody what happens with Vision?
So, and this is the one thing too that I feel dumb for not picking up on it. But previously we had seen, I guess it was Jimmy, mention that the sword project that they were working on was called Cataract.
Right.
And I didn't really think about what a cataract was. Yeah. And that's when a lens in your eye gets cloudy and white, and so it's white vision.
Yes. Yeah.
So like that was like staring me in the face, and I felt really stupid not thinking of it earlier.
It's all good.
Yeah, and that's a big thing in the comics that at some point, actually, the government does disassemble the Vision in the comics, and then he is rebuilt without any personality. So he's just kind of this emotionless void and he's just a robot. He doesn't remember anything. He doesn't feel anything, and he's all white. And he stayed like that for quite some time. Well over a decade, I'd say. Yeah,
when I first got into comics as a kid, that's what he looked like. And so when I saw him with the red face and stuff, I was like, "What the hell is this?" But that's what he mainly is. Yeah. So that's like
there was an arcade game. It was a Captain America and the Avengers arcade game, and Vision playable characters, and it was the white version.
Yeah. That didn't have the 4 screens like the X-Men game, right?
I don't think I've ever seen that with a 4 screen. No, but I mean. Yeah. It was Captain America, Iron Man, Hawkeye, and Vision you played as, I think?
No, I think there was a girl, though, too.
What?
There was no girl? Like, there wasn't Scarlet Witch, or...
No.
Okay. That's all good.
That was kind of the norm. You had 4 characters. I mean, actually, X-Men had 6, but X-Men had the crazy big...
The screens, yeah. Hell yeah. Good times. So, I guess what's going to happen in the last episode is going to be a confrontation between this emotionless Vision and Wanda.
Yeah, that's one of the things I wrote down in my notes here is that what is this end conflict? Because, I mean, yes, we've seen that Agatha is sort of not so nice, but I wouldn't classify her as evil or a big bad in this sense. Because really, she's reacting to something she sensed in the world and wants to find out about it. I mean, it's very possible she wants to claim that power for herself, like she claimed the power of the witches back in 1693.
Yeah.
But it's not like she's not like mustache twirling evil. I don't think at the same time. So I almost think that really Director Hayward might be more of a villain here than anybody that we've seen. Basically manipulating everyone's perception of the situation because he made it seem like Wanda stormed in there and stole the Vision's body. Yeah, and now. They got what they wanted. They got their sentient weapon back. Yeah. So I mean, is the throwdown between Wanda and Agatha? Is it between the 2 Visions? Is it some big free for all? Where does Monica fit in? Yeah. And then is there still a secret cameo or not? Is there a big? Is it a big actor? Is it a big character? Has Paul Bettany and others been trolling us? Yeah. I guess this is go ahead.
Well, okay, so I didn't even think of Vision versus Vision. That's real interesting. That's cool.
I imagine that we're gonna get some kind of at the end of this, we're gonna get some kind of amalgamation of the 2 of them. So maybe he'll still look white, but he'll have the personality back.
Maybe.
And then the other way I was thinking, I mean, it's also possible too that won't come into play in the episode.
Yeah.
And at all. I mean, I almost felt that could have been a really good like end mid-credit scene for the last episode. It was like,
yeah.
But I feel like there's still something to resolve there. So it's he probably will factor into the episode.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So that reminds me, because in that mid-credit scene, they said, "Oh, we just needed some energy to charge him up," right?
Yes.
Now,
energy from the source.
Right. So that's where it gets confusing. I don't really want to bore people too much with this too, but I know that like Wanda got her powers from the mind gem, right?
Yes.
And so she's got her like kind of red energy, and then they made it look like Vision was getting that red energy, and that was charging him up, right?
Yeah.
So I guess the question is, if that's like chaos magic, right? Like, how does that work with the mind gem? Is it like?
I think it's just all has to do that Vision was created with help of the mind gem, and Wanda's power was somehow enhanced by the mind gem. So
okay.
really some latent connection to the mind gem that's bringing this new android back online.
Okay, cool. Thank you for making that simple. I'm letting talk another 5 minutes, boring the hell out of everybody. So then let's jump into your thing about the cameos then, or the cameo of the special actor, right?
Okay. So I have two theories.
Okay.
So I have two theories.
So
do you want the jokey one first, or do you want the crazy one?
Well, okay. How about this? Let me present to you the questions, and we can see if we can poke holes in your theories, okay?
Sure.
Okay, so question number one is, Paul Bettany's implying that he worked with the person, right? That like maybe he had like a scene with them?
Yes, he implied that he has a scene with them, and he implies that he's never worked with the person before.
Okay, so with that being said, if this person shows up, which I think we're leading towards, it's like a mid-credit scene, right? That like there's a scene with Vision and this person. Does that eliminate your two choices?
I don't know.
Okay, all right.
It might eliminate one of them in a sense, because I don't see how or why they would be in a scene together and how they would play off each other well, as he implied. But one of them definitely fits that hole. All
right, it fits the hole. Nice. All right, so bring it to me, man. Tell me the funny one first, and then we'll do the crazy one.
The funny one is that I wonder if Paul Bettany was trolling us the entire time, and the secret cameo is in fact himself. That he would be acting with himself.
Oh, that's not funny. That's annoying.
I think it's kind of funny. I mean, I like when people, throw out little tidbits in there and like Marvel makes everybody be very tight-lipped about this stuff. And I think that's a nice little funny tongue-in-cheek way of doing it. And maybe it's a little bit of a letdown, I guess, but it wasn't a super publicized article. I just happened to be searching out this kind of information, and I stumbled upon it. So
that's probably the answer. That's probably what it is.
I think that's a little more of a realistic answer.
Yeah.
And then then I have a crazy one.
Go, let's do it.
Okay, so the crazy one has to do more with magic, and I think this person is the actor itself is more of that's special than the actual character, because I don't think anyone's really going to know the character. So we mentioned the Darkhold, and we saw it in Agatha's script there. We think that book that was glowing, that was kind of zoomed in on, was the Darkhold.
Yeah.
Darkhold was written by an elder god named Cthon, or Chthon, depending on how you want to say it.
Sure.
Now, there was another line I saw thrown around that this show has another Luke Skywalker-esque cameo.
Okay.
Now, there's a cartoon called Marvel Superhero Squad that has a few episodes with Cthon in it.
Really?
And who voices Cthon but Mark Hamill? So what if literally the cameo, the Luke Skywalker size cameo, is Luke Skywalker?
Holy shit!
But that's not exciting from a character point of view, because nobody knows who that is. But story wise, it kind of could make sense, because he was involved in Wanda's powers in the comics.
Yeah.
It's a little fuzzy to me, I guess. I'm not really remembering exactly, but and there's something to do with him, and the kids have something to do with him too.
Yeah.
Basically, Wanda in the comics is supposed to be a vessel for him to come back to this dimension.
Right.
So I could see that being possible, but at the same time, how do you introduce that in one episode left, and it be something that very, very, very few comic fans are going to even pick up on, let alone more casual viewers. But that being said, I don't know. See Mark Hamill in anything is awesome. I mean,
yeah, dude, that's interesting. What the hell is Chthon doing on that Avengers cartoon?
So it's a weird episode. I watched about 10 minutes of it or so. Dr. Doom goes to some weird dimension that's like a jail, and he goes to rescue his mom, who is just like, it looks like a typical granny, but it has a Dr. Doom mask. And he takes over the dark dimension, and then Chthon goes to the Avengers to help get rid of Dr. Doom and Dr. Doom's mom.
Oh my God! Okay, I have to look that up on YouTube because I want to hear Mark Hamill's voice.
It's on Disney Plus, so you can watch it all there.
Good. Okay, good. Wow. So yeah, because that's when they're all like those little squat figures, right?
They're all like little like chibi looking kind of things. They're all
like play school kind of.
Yeah, but they got. I mean, other than Chthon, they had some deep cuts there. I mean, like they had Silver Surfer on there. I mean, he's not super deep, but you don't really see him in too many things. They have a lot of characters in that show.
Yeah. That would be awesome if it's Mark Hamill, but dude, I bet you $50 it's that Paul Bettany combo. Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, think about what would be the most satisfying thing for you to see as a fan. I mean, I think I would echo the same thing. If we did like a 1, 2, 3, say a word, I guarantee it would be the same word.
It's the same word.
Same character.
Okay,
the biggest thing the thing that would get me hyped or whatever, like shocked, like gosh, like jumping out of my seat, would be we've already talked about it too. I mean,
don't spoil it. Okay, so let's see if we got it then. Okay, so we'll do it on three, right? So,
1, 2, 3, or 3, 2, 1.
1, 2, 3. Okay, ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Magneto. It's a little delay there. Yeah. That would be the most exciting thing.
Yeah, it would be absolutely be the most exciting thing, but I don't see how it's going to happen. I just don't.
No, it's too much. It's too much in like one show. It already is like kind of too much already. You know,
absolutely
with the reveals and stuff. One last thing about like the Vision too. I really like that line where she was saying that she wanted to bury him, and then the guy who's the head, what's his name, Hayward, right?
Hayward, yeah.
He's like, it's like a $1 billion piece of vibranium,
Yeah, we can't let you put $3 billion of vibranium in the ground.
Right. I like that. Yeah. Very practical. I didn't think, I forgot that he was made out of vibranium,
Yeah. Totally separate. Another line I really liked in the show is in that scene with Wandavision in the Avengers complex, where he said, what is grief but love persevering? I thought it was really like poignant and deep. And yeah, exactly. I really like that. That stuck with me.
Yeah. I think there's actually quite a few episodes, quite a few lines that were good. I just can't really remember them off the top of my head. I wanted to talk about all the conspiracy stuff with you, all the behind the scenes stuff,
Yeah.
Was there anything else that you wanted to bring up?
Not really. Other than I have no idea how this resolves still, and I still have no idea how this leads into whatever next thing. And I'm still gonna hold on to the fact that this is a one and done show. There's not gonna be a second season,
right?
And that's pretty much it.
You know that it's a one and done, or that's your speculation?
That's my gut feeling. I mean, I'm like fairly certain that I can't see this premise being another. I mean, maybe they could change the premise and get out of the TV idea, but this seems to me like this. I don't know what they would continue, but they have to continue somehow with this character, because I mean, this has been like a shining spotlight on this character that's been fantastic. Yep. And I think people are going to want to see more of her. Beyond just in the Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah. I think that we're going to see major changes with her in the comics. Like, she's going to be a big part of the Avengers in the comics. Probably her and Vision on the team. Vision's still alive in the comics right now, I think.
Yes.
He dies a lot.
Everybody dies a lot.
Yeah, very true, very true. But I think she'll probably be front and center in the Avengers. I think Jason Aaron is writing it still, but I think he's almost done with it, and someone that's going to take over.
Yeah.
Did you know? And then here's a little side note for no one that's watching this that cares except for you. But like, did you know Bendis is taking over the Justice League?
Oh no, I didn't hear that.
Yeah. He's done with his Superman books, and he's taking over Justice League. Yeah, just if anyone gives a shit at all, which I don't think you guys do, but like Bendis is the one that kind of restarted the Avengers and made them super exciting for everyone before the movies, and now he's over at DC and he's going to be doing Justice League. So we'll see what he does.
Maybe that help revitalize them a little bit.
Yeah. You never know. Yeah, but that's the whole thing, right? Is that and you know I think Danny might still be watching if he is. You know, Danny made this one point on Twitter recently. This is a good point to kind of close on, but he was saying that like. With DC, they're making another Superman movie. You know, they're already making another Batman movie. It's going to come out soon. And they just kind of focus on these core characters, right? Whereas in the MCU, they're taking these characters that, like, nobody really cares about except for, like, hardcore comic book fans. And they're making it the show that everyone's talking about, right?
Yeah. They certainly have some magic touch to turn anything into gold. I mean, like, I'm one of the things I'd be most speculative out of everything that they're doing is the Eternals. Like, I know nothing about the Eternals. I don't have that crazy of an interest in them. But I mean, if they're going to throw this into a movie, like I was going to go see it anyway. But I mean, you know, maybe this is the next big thing too.
Well, let me ask you this: did you ever read the Neil Gaiman Eternals comic?
I have it. I started reading one issue once, and I think I don't know why I didn't finish it, but I think I have some of it.
But
I mean, DC is not totally devoid of that either. I mean, they haven't had as much success. I mean, we got a Shazam movie. We got an Aquaman movie. I mean, like, that's saying something, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree. There are examples. There are absolutely examples. It just seems like they're kind of hesitant to do that, right?
Yeah.
And like that it's kind of backfired on them because I think Shazam did well, but it didn't really do super well. And then Harley Quinn, even though she's a pretty popular character, it's still not Batman or Superman. And that movie kind of bombed, right? Birds of Prey.
And I like Birds of Prey. I thought it was a pretty solid movie.
Yeah, dude. Shit. Yeah. And then like, Wonder Woman, I think both movies have been successful at this point, but it's just kind of the same thing as Batman and Superman. It's already sort of like everyone knows her. Like we really need DC movies about like Nightwing just by himself or like, I don't know, the JSA or something, but that's a whole nother video in itself, Yeah. Wait, but shoot, there was something that we were just talking about with Marvel. Oh, whatever, it doesn't matter. So you covered everything you wanted to cover?
I'm pretty sure I got everything. Yep.
Yeah. Well, dude, thank you so much for talking with me about all this. I love having these discussions with you, and it's pay attention to the details, and it kind of goes over my head a lot of time.
Well, I think we both pick up on different things, so it's good that we're two brains better than one.
A duo, yeah. Cool, man. All right, well, so then we will see you guys next week then. Thank you for watching.